are going to begin with that exclusive interview with Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling. Her final book in the series, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, sold a record-breaking 15 million copies worldwide in the 24 hours after it hit shelves this past weekend. Final chapters may have been written, but the book isn't closed on Harry Potter, not just yet.
Laughed Harry. More than the two that attacked us, you mean? Of course there are. There are hundreds, maybe thousands by this time, seeing as they feed off fear and despair. Once I'm 17, all of them. Death Eaters, Dementors, maybe even Inferi, which means dead bodies enchanted by a dark wizard, will be able to find you and will certainly attack you. And if you remember the last time you tried to outrun wizards, I think you'll agree you need help.
It's finally done.
I know.
How does that feel?
Incredible.
Incredible good? Incredible bad? A little bit of both? Or?
At the moment, it feels great, to be honest with you. It feels, this is a really nice place to be. I mean, I am sad. I was hard to live with for about a week after I finished this book.
Because you realized it was over? Because, I mean, you killed off some of the characters, too. I'm sure that was
I think the whole thing,
yeah.
It was this amazing cathartic moment, the end of 17 years' work. And it's very much tied into things that I've done in my life for 17 years, so it brought back a lot of memories.
Yeah, because when you started, you were not in the same place you are now, by any means.
You know, life has its ups and downs, so Harry's been with me through a lot. I think it was that feeling, more than any other, that I wouldn't have that world to retreat into again that was painful.
Do you feel like you've had to say goodbye to Harry?
Yes and no. He'll always be a presence in my life, really.
You left us hanging a little bit.
It would have been humanly impossible to answer every single question that fans have. Because I'm dealing with a level of obsession in some of my fans that will not rest until they know the middle names of Harry's great-great-grandparents.
Well, yeah, people have gotten a little obsessive.
No, I love it. I'm all for that. I'm delighted they feel that way.
I know all you guys have a lot of questions, so we're going to start. Omar, let's start with you.
Okay. I understand you mapped out your vision of the books years ago. How far was book 7 from that original idea?
It's really close, particularly the last third of the book is as I always planned it. It really is. The only exception would be that one character appears in that last third, and I thought that character was going to die in book 5 when I started writing. So Mr. Weasley. So he was the person who got a reprieve.
Now, why did he get the reprieve?
Well, I had to keep him alive. Partly because I couldn't bear to kill him.
Did you ever consider killing Harry or Hermione or Ron?
Yeah, definitely. I'm very proud of the fact that as we went into this book, many readers believed it was a real possibility that Harry would die. That's what I was aiming for, that you really felt that anyone was up for grabs.
But did you worry at all, Jo, when you're writing the book, that you might have just devastated a lot of kids by taking Harry or Hermione or Ron?
Of course that affects you. I can remember meeting a boy who said to me, please never, ever, ever, ever kill Hagrid, Dumbledore or Sirius. And I knew that I'd already done it. I'd already killed Sirius, and I can't pretend that looking at him I didn't feel quite awful.
Overall, the loss of which character brought you to tears?
Definitely the passage that I found hardest to write of all in all 7 books, and the one that made me cry the most was chapter 34 in this book. It's when Harry sets off into the forest. I had this enormous explosion of emotion, and I cried and cried and cried.
Jackson?
Is there anything you wish you had or hadn't written in Harry Potter? Mainly deaths.
No, the deaths were all very good. I don't kill even fictional characters lightly.
In the end you say that, or you tell us that Neville is a professor at Hogwarts. What do Harry, Hermione and Ron do for a living?
Yeah, I think that's what everyone wants to do. Well, Harry and Ron utterly revolutionised the aura department. And Hermione, well, I think she's now pretty high up in the Department for Magical Law Enforcement.
Why didn't you mention that in the book?
Well, to tell the truth, the first draft of the epilogue was a lot more detailed, but it didn't work very well as a piece of writing. But I do, of course, have that information for you, should you require.
We've also had a lot of emails from people who've read the book now and have questions, so I want to go through some of them.
Yes.
Was Snape always intended to be a hero?
Is he a hero? You see, I don't see him really as a hero.
Really?
Yeah, he's spiteful, he's a bully. All these things are still true of Snape, even at the end of this book. But was he brave? Yes, immensely.
If Snape didn't love Lily, would he still try to protect Harry?
No, he definitely wouldn't have done. He wouldn't have been remotely interested in what happened to this boy.
Okay, 19 years later, who's the headmaster at Hogwarts?
Well, it would be someone new. McGonagall was really getting on a bit, so someone completely new. But if I ever do the encyclopedia, I'm promising I will give details.
You're going to do that, aren't you?
I think I probably will, but I'm not going to do it tomorrow because I'd really like a break.
Jimmy?
Can you tell us a bit about the influences in your book?
Well, it's very, very hard to separate your influences. Things like Star Wars, or the Lord of the Rings, or the Harry Potter series, and many of they take the form of quests. They take the form of good versus evil and what that does to people.
Is Harry Potter based on anyone that you know?
No, Harry is entirely imaginary. So I suppose that must mean he comes from me a bit as well.
What to you is the most satisfying part of the entire Harry Potter phenomenon?
This, talking to people like you about the books, definitely.
Do you plan to write more books after this?
Yes, definitely. I will always write. I can't imagine stopping writing. It's I mean, I've literally been doing it since I was 5 years old. I've always been writing, so I will still write until I can't write anymore.
Will you write about, like, wizarding worlds, or will it be totally different?
I think I've kind of done the wizarding world.
And so you can look out at these sweet, innocent faces and say, there'll never be another Harry Potter book.
I've done my Harry Potter.
Is she really done with the Wizarding World? I'm not so sure. You'll have to watch more of that exclusive interview with Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling tomorrow. Just the two of us, one-on-one. Her thoughts on the characters who lived, the ones who died, and how her late mom has had a huge impact on what she writes. And on Sunday evening, Dateline will present a special Harry Potter hour that is at 7, 6 Central.